Hello guys, it's me Adi Gopal Nepal, and this is another video on me explaining the code of my authentication project which I've created, shifting fitness. In previous video, I explained about the generic response in my project and about registration module. I explained up to this in the previous video, but now in this video I will explain the next module, that is OTP service. In the entire video, I will only explain about OTP service and nothing else. So let's get started. I'm just a rich boy. I'm just a poor boy. Nobody loves me. Da. So guys, thanks for watching, listening my intro which just came a few seconds earlier. So regarding OTP service, as already said, this is a service. I have done this annotation for so that Spring Boot can do its proper dependency injection. It's a all args constructor dependency injection about Spring Boot. It do dependency injection of all the final field constructor based dependency injection whatever. And let's get started. Where I will explain all of the method which we have on OTP service, but you might get confused if I directly explain all of the method which I've done. So I will go on a single flow. Last time we were up to here. I've explained how user registration is done, but after user get registered, we are supposed to send an OTP to the user, because if you can look into my project, user register, but they also need to set password if they want to be enabled on my application. Without setting password, any registered user cannot do their login in my system. For that, there is a code named generate and send OTP. This is a method, and as a method signature, it asks two things: the user and OTP purpose. There are two kind of purpose for which we can send an OTP: register and forgot password. So as you can see, there's a register and there's a for. There are two kind of purpose, and this OTP purpose ensure that any OTP used for register cannot be used for forgot password. So these two things are like separate environment. One thing does not interfere with another, any of the business logic, any of the limitation, any of the blocker. So this is the purpose. And if you can see here, if user account is blocked, we cannot send password. So as I've already said, in fitness work, the user details of my table, there is a field name each account non-locked. This field being false means that my account is locked till this date. And if this is the case, that then my application does not allow user to send any kind of OTP. They are just blocked on any kind of the APIs which belongs under auth. So, and blocked user cannot use any of the auth API. They can use user API if they got a valid access token. So that's all. So after that, there is a method named get secured OTP. So this is a method which I got from Stack Overflow, and it generates 6-digit OTP and returns me. Why it is secured? Because if I have done random class, then random class is not cryptocally random as per Stack Overflow. I didn't read everything, so that's why I've used this secure random instead of random, and it will generate 6-digit OTP. And then I instance.now. So by the way, there are three kind of data. There is date time, zone time, and local date time instant. So I have used instant because my application can be used globally by any user, no matter of the time zone they are in. Obviously I could have used local date time and can had used the server's date, you know, the date time in which the server is hosted, but still I have written my code in a such way that the zone, what we call I have written my code in a such way that the zone user is in it does not impact the time and any of the logic in my code, no matter even the server location is fixed. And then now before creating and generating and sending new OTP, I have checked few I have checked few conditions. So there's a check new OTP limit and expire old OTP. What it does is that it get all of the OTP, okay? Then it checks whether user is allowed to send a new OTP. What it check is that it checks latest OTP which is generated on the last 12 hour. If in the last 12 hour more than 10 OTP is generated, then this exception is thrown. Lots of OTP sent. Please try again later after few hours. For 12 hour, user is blocked to send any new OTP. If this is the scenario which get triggered, if this is not the case, then we check for this condition. New OTP can only be sent after 1 minute. If in last 1 minute we have sent any OTP to the user, then this exception will be thrown to the user. So this code is just used to throw exception to the user. It throws it and does not allow us to write any data into the table. So let's show with a demonstration. So recent OTP. So this is a user for which I have already sent lots of OTP. If I try to send it, it will show this error. Lots of OTP sent. Please try again later after few hours. This could have this error come due to this condition becoming true. Now next error is, let's say there is a account name either 3, email sent successfully. For a email sent successfully, if I try to send in again, so I have sent this email and I'm sending again, but 1 minute haven't crossed yet. In this condition, I will get this error. New OTP can only be sent. New OTP can only be sent after 1 minute. This exception occurs due to this logic. Okay. After this, what we are doing is that let's say everything from select everything from user OTP. So let's say that for register we got this OTP. Okay, just look at the expiry date of this OTP, 1634. But if I again generate a new OTP for this same user, for the same user 52, I am generating a new OTP for the same purpose register, and and neither of these limitation have reached for this user. In this case, what happens is that an OTP will be successfully sent to the user, but if you look at this, what is happening? I am confused myself. 52, 52. Okay, The ordering sort by created at, I don't know much of the command, but if I try to do something like this, then all of the old OTP of the same user for the same purpose get expired and the latest date will be set as now. And things to be noted that we are only updating on the entity. We haven't saved this value to the repository. We will get all of the old OTP, and after getting all of the OTP we will save it here. And since we are modifying the row, the ordering of this value is getting changed up and down. After that, okay, this code is about expiring the old OTP, but we have already created a new OTP here. This code saves the OTP, so it saves the purpose, it saves the user, it saves the time, it saves the expiry. The OTP will expire in the next 30 minutes if none new OTP is created, or if none of the OTP get used. Since OTP is a one-time password, if the OTP is successfully used, this OTP is expired by us manually. And one thing to note is that we are using password encoder to encode our OTP, which application config. So we are using this password. I am using this password encryptor to encrypt my OTP, and this password encryptor is the same encryptor which I have used for encrypting my passport of a user. Mm, this encoded password and my name for this encrypted password follows same password encoder with same secret key. So I think that explains this code saving the newly created OTP, and this code expiring the old OTP which was created for the same user for the same purpose. And this code also check lots of limits for an OTP. After that, finally we sends an email. So we got an email service which sends an email. For now, to make our process faster, what I had done is that I printed OTP in terminal instead of actually sending the OTP, but actually sending OTP code works too in my code. Look, so this is a code I copied somewhere from internet. I don't know what this code does, but as the name suggests, send mail with attachment sends a mail with attachment, and send simple mail sends a simple mail. Sending a simple mail means the mail only contains these three fields: subject, message body, recipient, and with attachment means it also contains this attachment. In the user service, we are taking some value from here. In application.yml, we got this is a code I copied. So this, and it got these values from my environment variable. I know it is a good practice to use a and b, but I will use a and b. I don't know how to comment. Use a and b. So in later version, I will use a and b instead of environment config. But this is what is happening. So email, it uses the email and password, after which it will just set whatever value and sends an email. uh, there's one thing which we need to throw is that, okay, this is just code which I copy paste, so I'm not using lots of mind on editing it. Just one thing I want, so this one thing I want to give as a evidence that sending OTP code actually work. So look, I send an OTP, some code run, and when I go here, yokmail.com. Guys, sorry, I cannot demonstrate that sending OTP code works. If you want to see, then watch my second video on this playlist where I have sent multiple OTP. Okay, because right now I have no internet connection. I'm explaining without any internet. So this is send OTP. I think I've explained this. Check new method. I've also explained this. I've also explained this. Now I need to explain the last two code which we got on OTP service, which is OTP is correct and delete expired OTP. Guys, yeah, this video I will take a short water. So guys, what's up? What's your name? What's your sign? You're getting out of my mind. So guys, so now coming to this code, OTP is correct. This code is used to verify whether a enter OTP is valid or not. So if you see on the method signature, on response it returns an boolean whether the OTP is correct or not. In request it asks for user entity, the OTP which user entered in request, and the OTP purpose, register, forgot password, and there is one new variable which is expire is valid, which I will explain once I reach this code. Okay, let's get started. So there is a first code, account not locked, the account locked due to suspect. So I hope you already understand that if there is lots of wrong attempts, then we will not allow to check OTP is correct or not. User is already blocked. So we will take current time, and in this code what we are doing is that we are fetching all of the OTP which is not expired, and those OTP which matches the okay guys, what I'm saying. Okay guys, look, we are using password encoder to encode OTP. Paint. So this is an OTP 123. We use password encoder to encode this OTP to some random value, and this random value is saved in our DB. Now when user is entering their OTP, 5 after saving to DB, this value 1235, it's unknown to us. Okay, this is unknown to us. Backend does not know this. Backend backend does not know this 1235. This 1235 is sent to email, and what happens is that if valid user, any user who actually owns that email, will get the OTP. Okay, now the problem is when user enters OTP 1234, I think there was no 5, I forgot it, and hit a request to a backend. Backend itself does not knows what was the OTP because it have encrypted to OTP in this format, and I think that this decrypt password encoder cannot be. I think it is not reversible. Since I have no internet connection, I cannot verify it. Is reversible. So okay, just Assume that I am explaining hashing. In hashing, 1225 is hashed to this random value, and this value cannot be returned back to this value. Okay, so in this case, how can we compare that 1234 is valid to this hash? What we need to do is that we hash this value again. Let's say we hash this value again, and we will get a new hash value 2 and hash value 1. If hash value 1 and hash value 2 matches each other, if these two values match each other, this means that the OTP that user entered and the OTP which were hashed and saved into our database is equals. And this is what this code is checking. This is what this code is checking. Any non-expired OTP is equal. Any This code is checking whether the OTP which is entered by user, back. So where I was. So if the OTP, so we get list of all non-expired OTP with whom the password which user entered is valid. So it will be a, although the type is list, the data we get here is always one data, but still for backup I am saving it in list. And if the value is valid, then we are checking this value. So expire if valid. Let's say what happened is that I think this code. So OTP is called one time password, and once you use an OTP you are not supposed to use the same OTP again. But in scenario like verify OTP, but what happens is that look, I have sent an OTP to this email. I will go here. I have no internet connection. So what happens is that I have sent OTP to this email, and now I need to verify this OTP. Okay, I've done the verification and OTP is verified. And when I try to set the password, I'm trying to set the password and the OTP is correct. But since I've already used OTP in this place, I will get an exception that OTP is already used. Because OTP is a one-time password. I've already verified OTP here. How I am supposed to use again it here? Due to which, if expired, if valid is true, then if the OTP is correct, it will get expired. If not, it will not get expired. That is what is happening here. So that's the all code. And finally, there is a code named delete expired OTP. So in our system, if you can look, there is only three row in this table, but if you look here there are 29 row, And once this app goes to production, there could be 1,000 row every lots of data. And the problem is once the OTP is expired, this OTP is useless. And this row is only occupying lots of space in our database, due to which we need to expire this OTP. For that, I'm running a scheduler. For those who don't know what a scheduler is a okay. Look, let's understand about method. Okay, method, method, or in function. Yes, method in Java we call it method. Except this function. So let's say we write a method name point print hello. So we have written a method which prints hello, but if we run our application in none of this scenario, this method will be called, because although we have wrote a method, but we have not never called this method. So we also need to trigger this method on specific scenario. But the problem with delete expiry OTP is that we cannot manually, we cannot manually call it here delete expired OTP on every request which is made, because it will do a heavy check. So there might be 1,000 OTP on a single date. Let's say in our application there are 1,000 users, and all of the users ask for OTP, and there could be 1,000 OTP in our system, due to which if on every call of is OTP correct, we call this method, then lots of processing power will be used in our system, due to which we are s- setting a scheduler. So there are two type of scheduler which from what I know. The first is cron job and second is fixed delay. In cron job, what happens is that at a specific in cron at a specific time, let's say at 12 a.m. Sorry for noise, guys. Background, ignore noise cancellation. At cron job at a specific delay at the 12 a.m. this method get triggered, and it will check all of the OTP which is expired one day previously, and it will delete all of them. And why I have done one day, because you know if OTP is expired and I delete them immediately, then sometimes it is a good user experience to show user that OTP is expired. What I mean is that, let's say you just get an OTP, and the expiry of OTP is 30 minutes, and within 30 minutes user is trying to, I mean, in OTP expiry is 30 minutes, but user is trying to try that OTP in 40 minutes. And if we say that OTP is invalid, then it is a wrong message, because OTP was valid, just there is a fact that OTP was expired. So instead of saying OTP is invalid, it is better to say OTP is expired. But at the same time, we are supposed to delete the expired OTP. So I am writing, due to which I am setting the expire date as one day. So if user is trying to use the same OTP after 1 day and 40 minutes, instead of showing OTP is expired, they will get invalid OTP, because the OTP is already deleted from our database. The OTP is already deleted from our database, and this scheduler runs at every 12 a.m. And Nepali, no, English. English. Yeah. Do you want to come inside? No, Nepali. And shut that door. So this is what scheduler with crons up too. Whereas there is another way as a which is fixed delay. What it does is that at every some delay, if this is once tens, 100,000, 10,000, I think it is 10 second. I think the fixed delay which we is it November disturbance. I sorry, don't look me like that. I got to stop. If 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 we do something like fixed delay at every this millisecond, this scheduler will rerun. So the so and it will do that. So guys, thanks for watching. These three monkeys are disturbing me. Bye bye.